Triumph Trident 660, the latest creation from the British manufacturer, stands out for its new engine with 95 horsepower and 68 Newton meters of torque. You want to know everything about it? Well, follow us in this new video from Red.
The battle is becoming increasingly fierce and no holds barred in the mid-size category dedicated to A2 licenses. That's why Triumph is focusing on performance and onboard technology. The small 3-cylinder engine hasn't just changed, it's been revolutionized. 14 more horsepower than before, with even higher revs achieved by modifying many mechanical components, starting with 3 new throttle bodies, each dedicated to a cylinder, a larger airbox to improve engine breathing, an even bigger and more efficient radiator, camshafts with increased lift along with larger diameter exhaust valves, plus a revised gearbox and a new, more responsive clutch.
And it's precisely the engine that truly makes the difference and redefines the behavior of the Trident 660. With its 95 horsepower and 68 Newton meters of torque, which I just mentioned, it clearly changes the riding dynamics radically. The engine is fantastic. It does vibrate a bit on the handlebars, that has to be acknowledged, but absolutely not on the foot pegs or the seat. It has gained a lot in terms of flexibility, to the point that you can go through a roundabout in second gear at 1,500 RPM, and it manages to, as I always say, pull you out of the corners with just a touch of the throttle. The throttle response is wonderful, smooth, creamy, and it interacts very well with the engine across all 3 riding modes. The mode that obviously does the most justice to the 95 horsepower setup is the Sport mode, which allows you to unleash all the power at any RPM. It's an engine that performs well from 4,000 RPM up to 8,000 or 9,000 RPM. The range is really very wide. A beautiful 3-cylinder that sounds great. It starts off smooth, as I mentioned, already from 1,500 RPM, becomes full and robust at 4,000 RPM, and then the thrust tapers off around 10,000 RPM. You can push it even further, but you really notice how the torque curve flattens out a lot, and it struggles to go beyond that point. It even becomes a bit rough. However, for being the Trident 660, which doesn't aim to step on the street triple's toes, I have to say the level has really gone up a lot. So the engine's behavior is very good. Nice power delivery, nice response, supported by a fairly precise gearbox with a quick shifter. Gear changes, both up and down, are good. You can sometimes feel a notch, but it doesn't happen in every gear. Sometimes it occurs in the lower gears, especially when downshifting, and sometimes when upshifting from 4th to 5th, you feel a bit of engagement in the lever, but then it slots in very quickly. Overall, I have to acknowledge that the engine has really given the whole bike a significant step forward. I should point out that the clutch lever is not adjustable, and its engagement point is quite far out, almost at the full extension of the lever. So you lose a bit of feeling when starting off at traffic lights. And if we think about the kind of user who might want to approach the Triumph world, maybe a woman or someone with smaller hands, having the engagement point all the way at the end, where the clutch starts to work, is something to keep in mind. It's not a big deal, because as I mentioned earlier, as soon as you shift gears, everything works really, really well.
The Trident 660 targets a demanding audience. The success of previous years drives the constant search for development and improvement. The new fuel tank is even more welcoming, and the essential dimensions reveal the philosophy behind this small naked bike. Lightness, ease of handling, manageability at low speeds and even during maneuvers. All crucial factors when making a purchase.
Riding position, this one is also centered. The fuel tank has been redesigned to accommodate the new 3 throttle bodies, which now independently manage each individual cylinder. The central area where the seat meets the tank is nice and slim. The seat is 810 millimeters high, which means both feet can touch the ground very well for a weight of 195 kilograms when fully fueled, so ready to ride with all fluids on board. What has changed compared to the previous Trident? The handlebar has been widened by a total of 20 millimeters, so 1 centimeter on each side. According to the technicians, you gain leverage, which helps with low-speed maneuvers, but essentially what really works is the good weight balance, which makes the riding position and handling of the bike a bit easier when you're in the saddle. It works well in terms of the riding triangle because your leg passes just slightly under the line of the tank. I'm 1.78 meters tall, and the angle formed at the knee between the seat and the foot pegs is definitely comfortable. Very good, I like it. The only thing I notice regarding the riding position is that when you pull your feet back, both on the gear side and on the brake side, you tend to touch the passenger foot peg a bit. It's inevitable. Other than that, the riding position is nice, the handlebars are open, wide just enough. It's a wide handlebar, which I like. The position of the torso is also not too far forward and not too far back. And from this point of view as well, I feel like I find that nice natural feel that somewhat characterizes the Speed Triple family too.
As per tradition, Triumph chooses prestigious partners to dress its motorcycles. Thus, alongside the steel perimeter frame, there are Showa-branded suspensions. A 41mm fork with a 120mm travel, and a monoshock whose travel is, however, 130mm. It is adjustable for preload with classic rings and has a rebound adjustment. I'll also add for the record some chassis measurements to understand the correct dimensions. A wheelbase of 1,402mm, a steering head angle of 24.5 degrees, a trail of 108mm, and a fuel tank capacity of 14 liters.
Riding dynamics of the Triumph Trident 660. We find an SFF-BP fork, which stands for Separate Function Fork, Big Piston, a monoshock adjustable for preload and rebound without progressive linkage. A choice that also somewhat reflects the tradition of the English brand. In fact, we find some very distinctive elements that are also very similar to its bigger sister, the 800, which was recently tested by Stefano Cordaro himself. I encourage you to go watch his review because it's useful to understand how the two models actually don't overlap. It's very important within the motorcycle range for the A2 license. This bike here can be restricted to 35 kilowatts, whereas the 800 obviously can't be downsized to be suitable for A2 licenses. Dynamically, it's a really quick, light, and agile bike. That physical lightness, its 195 kilograms of weight, doesn't negatively affect the ride at any point. However, other factors come into play, such as the initial setup of both the fork and the rear shock absorber. The fork has this tendency to always stay a bit high when cornering. It does not compress willingly and tends to remain somewhat stiff. This is probably also due to the choice of the stock tires, which are the Michelin Road 5. According to Triumph's technicians, these tires combine more than decent mileage with good grip, which is likely true. But in practice, especially the front tire never manages to provide enough grip to engage the fork properly and make it work as it should. To address this problem, the very simple operation you can do is to slightly preload the rear shock absorber. Keep in mind that as a rule, Triumph tends to set up their bikes so that they sit a bit low. In the specific case of the Trident 660, the preload is actually set almost to zero, at the last notch of the ring. We gave it a first click, just enough to keep it a bit higher in terms of load transfer, so when you accelerate it tends to squat a little less, and by keeping it a bit higher it makes the front end work a little more. One additional observation that frequently comes up while riding is the fact that the rear suspension shock has a specific setting that consistently struggles to effectively absorb those minor small bumps in the road. Consequently, it fails to respond adequately when you are traveling at higher speeds, yet quite paradoxically, it feels surprisingly soft and compliant when you are traveling at lower speeds. So you end up with a suspension that's a bit harsh when starting off, especially if the asphalt isn't perfectly smooth, and at the same time, the suspension is a bit soft when you start to push it a little. A test you can try, which does work, is to preload it just a little. From a dynamic point of view, and I say this with pleasure, it's a bike that gives a whole lot of satisfaction because it's nimble, and with the brake lever in hand, you can really nail the corners. Special praise definitely goes to the rear disc, which is 255 millimeters, while the pair of 310 millimeter front disc with Nissin calipers work well. There's always a sort of initial phase of contact with the lever, the first bite, where it feels like it's working a bit in vain, but then the braking action is correct. It's not a system that bites very aggressively, so you don't end up making those really harsh stops that unsettle the bike's balance. Certainly, when you start to pick up the pace a bit, there's still some load transfer, which means the rear gets slightly lighter, and you get the feeling that the ABS kicks in a bit too quickly. You can feel it working, not much, but it's there.
The latest figures declared by the manufacturer indicate a consumption of 4.9 liters per 100 kilometers, although during the test the onboard computer recorded 6 liters per 100 kilometers, given a driving style that was anything but relaxed.
In conclusion, it's time to say goodbye after having given you a preview of the new features related to the Trident 660, a great product. Let's not make the mistake of comparing it to the Street Triple. No, they're two different bikes, even though if used properly, it really delivers great satisfaction when riding. Also, these 95 horsepower, this renewed vigor, this increase in power really make it perform well in any situation. The passenger seat is extremely minimal, maybe even too much so. It's almost a bike for singles, I would say, also because there isn't a lot of space. The passenger handles are not included as standard. They're an optional extra. Managing the menu is obviously easy, and on a bike like the Trident, which still uses an LCD display, that's acceptable, especially considering the relatively affordable price of the bike. Standard features, let me remind you once again: heated grips, an inertial measurement unit, already mentioned at the beginning, with 6 axes, cruise control. In short, all elements that make this little Triumph 660 even more refined. If you want to know more about it, write below and I'll see you in the next video, which in this case will be dedicated to the Tiger Sport 660 because we'll be testing that one next. See you soon, bye!